Welcome to yet another edition of Inner Growth with Osezuah ELIMIHE. Today, we are taking a look at our children. Having had a time with you yesterday discussing violence, there is the need to point the searchlight on the growth and the development of our children. I am still your host, and I am Osezuah ELIMIHE, and I am ever in the business of helping you grow from inside out. That's the drill. But how much of the inner working of a child do we really know? As an adult, you have an experience of pain, of psychological torture. You experience all kinds of emotions boiling within you, and you are not comfortable with it. Sometimes you form a personality that is always very, very contrary to the kind of person you hope and dream to be. If you as an adult are going through this kind of experience on a daily basis, what about the child? This is why I think that every parent should spend time with their children. Do you try to find out from the child the things they heard, the things that were told to them, things that happened to them, what people say about them that they overheard? What kind of experiences are they getting from school, from teachers, from other people in school? Did you try to find out? Like yesterday, in the last video, we were discussing how a little boy, upon hearing about the activities of the Bakassi boys, concluded that he is liable and worthy of punishment by the Bakassi boys. What kind of punishment did he have in mind? Death. Okay, such a morbid thought in the mind of a child is a time bomb waiting to explode. And look at what he made out of that young man. He made him into a wreck until he got rescued by the mercies of God. You do not want to leave your child in such a situation. Talking to a child is key to helping the child develop. Now, some people think that when they are relating to children, insulting them is one of them, shouting at them, using abusive words on them is one of them. It is not. It is unwelcomed. In fact, the word is abuse. What is abuse? The wrong use of something. You do not use words abusively on anybody, talk more of a baby or a child. You relate to children on the pedestal of equals. I actually don't know where some people get this idea from, that children are lesser humans, and so they should be treated at that level. The idea of beating, physically beating a child is criminal as far as I understand it, because every single blow you drop on a child belittles that child. It animalizes that child. It makes the child feel small. Now, when a child has been beaten, the response, that moment the child is alone, is another moment of psychological agony. All right? Now, if the child loves you, which is always the case, they always love, they are going to turn the shame upon themselves. They are going to see themselves as bad. They are going to see themselves as worthy of the beating. And that is a process of reducing that child. You might think, oh, it's not showing, but it shows in higher ways. Right? I had the experience of living in the village. That's Africa. When we're talking about Africa now. And I do not know how many families where children were beaten. Village. These are people. You know what I just think, that people in the rural, in the urban center, people in the urban centers of Nigeria don't even know what is Africa. They just paint a picture in their mind and imagine and say this is Africa. It is not a norm for African parents to beat their children. See, when a parent gets to the point of beating a child, using a cane or whatever to beat it, or using bad language on a child, that parent is dramatizing his or her own suppressions. The parent is dramatizing his or her own agonies. Of course, it is a reactive expression, but a parent that is normal, that is not suppressed, that is not under a state of psychological torment, we always relate to a child at the level of love, at the level of equality. See, the violent, the brutal, the saucy, the injurious, the negative human expressions that we see, they are not human. They are engramic. They are product of negative personalities that have taken their soul prisoner. Okay? A lot of the times it is the violence that is in the parent that is manifesting, not the real human being. The real human being will not beat a child. The real human being will not abuse a child. The real human being will not engage in psychological warfare with a child or any human being at that matter. A real human being relates at the level of love and equality. All right? So take the idea that child beating is a norm in Africa. It's not. Okay? And parents who beat their children are not regarded well. In my place, if you beat a child in the morning, they say, I want to let the child wake up. How will you beat the child in the morning? If you beat the child in the afternoon, say, in this hot weather, you want to kill the boy? If you beat the child at night, they say, I don't want the child to sleep. What evil is this? So there's never a time of the day that is right to beat a child. You simply just don't beat them. You talk to them, you relate with them. A child that is related with, that is discussed with, you have a dialogue with the child and relate to the child at the level of equality, grows up to become much more dignified. That child has a sense of dignity and dignifies people, respects people. That's where it comes from. And then the issue of reactivity is what parents manifest. They take out their frustrations on their children. It's just the same way when a man or a woman beats their spouse. It is crazy. It is a sense of inferiority. It is a base manifestation of the human soul. It is not normal. A child is not inferior to you on account of being a child. A child is a human being. All humans are equal. But when it comes to content of our mind, we are not. Why don't we have this mentality, this commitment to ensuring that the content in the minds of our children are high frequency content, so that the low frequency content can be easily dissipated? This is where child auditing comes into place. You need to audit your child's memory. You need to audit your child's mind. Calling the child after school and saying, what happened today at school? Tell me, gist me. You know, when you make your child your gist partner, the child, two things happen to that child. One, the child opens up. That's the first one. He opens up, warms up to you. The second thing is that he feels a sense of value. That child feels valued. And when these two things, opening up and having a sense of value, happen to that child, the next thing that follows is that the child has a high self-esteem. And then he becomes your friend. And when the child opens up to you, he can tell you anything. Imagine if the parent of this, client of mine had the need to discuss with him, and the child had this communion relationship between him and the parents. Imagine what would have happened to that Bakassi story that he was told. He would have been dissolved. The power of having a sense of equality, a sense of friendship with an adult cannot be overemphasized. I know of a boy who was, I think, age 9, 10. His friends were already telling stories about their escapade with girls. They were describing all the shows they were having. Primary school children I'm talking about right now. Then he, as a boy, because of the pressure, whenever they met, they discussed what they had done with the different girls. So he felt jealous. He felt he was not measuring up because he didn't have a story to tell them. Then he decided to go for one of the girls. He went to the girl's house and went very straight to the point. Hey, can we? And the girl said no. They kept quiet for a while. Later, the girl asked him, are you serious? And the boy said yes. He kept quiet for a while. Then the girl said, okay, let's go. Let's go do it. The boy said, okay. Then at that moment, a thought flashed through his mind. How will I face my uncle? How? Because he has an uncle in whom he confided. They were friends. And as far as he was concerned, the uncle was the greatest human being on the planet. There was nothing his uncle could not do. He was a problem solver. And his uncle related with him on the level of equality. Now, his thought was, how would I face him? Because there is nothing I do that I will not tell him. So that was his fear. He got up and ran home. Fear of offending his uncle. Fear of falling off the pedestal his uncle had placed him. When you give a child a sense of worth, the child gets stronger and it guards the child against irresponsible behaviors. Check out any child that is irresponsible out there. It is not the child. It is that child is reflecting. First of all, that child has a connection of equality, a connection that tells him that he is worthy with any adult life. All that child is getting is a sense of brutality. You can ignore a child. It is brutality. You can look at a child with a very stern and unfriendly face. That is brutality. Okay? When children misbehave, talk to them. Bring them, let them listen. They listen. When you relate to a child at the level of respect and love, you know what the child does? He beams it back to the society. He beams it back to you. He beams it back everybody that comes into his face. And of course, it reflects in his or her personality because love is reciprocal. It doesn't go one way. There's no one-way traffic to love. Love must give back what it gets. Children are love. Whatever you give them, they give it back to you. And this is it. Do not go on saying, oh, my child is very irresponsible. I don't know where he got this attitude from. You are the person your child is mirroring. Children mirror the attitude of their parents. So forget about this idea of saying, oh, the sons and children, daughters of pastors, sons of pastors are very, very, challenged. The devil is using them to undo their parents. It's such a silly hocus pocus. It is silly. It makes no sense. The pastors, the great men, politicians, leaders, if you look at their children, you will see them. If you want to know how a couple are, how a man, a woman is, look at their children. Children reflect the natures of their parents. I mean, be a good man and not be a good father. Might be a good woman and not be a good mother. But you see, if you are a good man, you need to translate that goodness to your fatherhood and be a good father. If a good father listens to a child, a good father plays with the child, a good father takes the child out, a good father gists with the child, and a good father audits the child. Listen to the story he has to tell you and then correct them lovingly. Correct them where there are errors. Imagine if that boy had told the parents, maybe the child is sad, looking moody, and you walk up to the child and say, what's going on, honey? If you push because he trusts you, because you have established that trust already, the child will open up. You say, why are you scared that Bakassi boys are going to kill you? You say, because I am a bad person. Children say that, because I'm a bad person. What makes you think you're a bad person? Because I've done this, I've stolen my friend's pencils, I've stolen mommy's money, I've not stolen your money. Come on, that doesn't make you a bad person. You made a bad decision. You made a bad decision. It doesn't make you a bad person. And for your information, Bakassi boys ain't going to kill you because of that. You now explain to the child the kind of people Bakassi boys are going after. That child would not have had that pain. He wouldn't have gone through years, over 2 decades, almost 2 decades of agony. It wouldn't have happened. Learn to create the future you want your child to live in. And you don't go outside by creating that future. You go inside. You create a future with your child. Spend time. Bond. I really felt I should do this because based on the discussion on Valence, I saw that it is very easy to turn a child into a monster, to turn a beautiful child into a wreck. And the easiest way to do that is by not abandoning the child. So please, have a child that can trust you. You have to be trustworthy and build a sense of self-worth in your child. Today, I don't know what our children are going to become because of the kind of information that we are giving out. You see, when you downgrade the environment of a child, what are the environments of a child? The parents, the uncles, the school, the state, the country, the race, the humanity of a child. What you are doing is that you are downgrading that child. This is why I am very uncomfortable with people speaking evil things, negative things about Nigeria, because it is building children that are going to be inferior no matter what. If you like, go and train the child in America, in Europe, anywhere in the world, and bring them. They are still going to reflect that thing that has been planted in them, because whether you like it or not, they are Nigerians. They will always subconsciously connect with their roots. So this idea of us spreading negative press about our country, thinking we are playing politics, is a disgrace. Your child is a diadem, is precious. Build that child in a way that you'll be proud of. Let that child become far better than you have done. It doesn't matter how good you are. Make that child better than you. It is your responsibility. It is your duty. It is a task. If you are not ready for it, don't start. If you have started, get yourself ready for the task. Thank you very much.